Have about the law of attraction. I'm just wondering, what's the relationship between the law of attraction and the law of karma? I mean, are they pretty much the same thing, or if not, then how are they related to each other?
What do you mean by the law of karma?
I think, I'm not religious, but I think in Buddhism they talk about, there's a cause, there's a result, and there has to be a cause, and so if you did something bad, then something bad will happen to you.
Well, here, let us give you our point of view, and then we will just let you use your own reasoning power to sort this out. So, do you acknowledge, does it make sense to you? Do you sort of feel resonance with the idea that you are more than this physical being?
Yes.
Sitting here?
Yep.
So you accept that there is a larger vibrational part of you, and it makes sense to you now, we can feel it, that your emotions let you know how well blended you are with that larger part of you or not, how much allowing or resistance is going on. And we know that you've been following us, we talked about it rather specifically already here today, that your inner being, who is pure positive energy, God force really, it's what man means when he talks about God. That source energy, that inner being, that being that you really are, will not come out of the vortex just to have interaction with you. In other words, if you are to have oneness with who you are, you have to do the moving into the furthest expanded place. Your inner being is not going to leave that expansion and move backward to where you might be. So, as you acknowledge that your inner being will not come out of the vortex for one moment for you, does it seem logical that Source would say to you, you were bad in some past life and you have to go back and redeem yourself in some way? Source won't even join you in one negative thought. What are the odds that Source would send you back to compensate for something that you messed up before? This is man's out of the vortex conclusion. It's really interesting to watch how many really crazy things man comes to believe from outside the vortex, because he innately understands that he should feel better. He innately knows that he is good. And when he is outside the vortex and life is not treating him well, then he conjures all kinds of ridiculous versions to explain why things are not going better for him. But your own reasoning lets you know that that could not be. Now, let's take the idea of karma and let's try to apply it to the idea of attraction, because certainly you existed before you came forth into this body, and just as we are encouraging you here and now to explore and expand, from that non-physical perspective, you were exploring and expanding. In other words, from non-physical, you made the decision to come forth into this time-space reality. You were reaching forward. And now you are here, you are still reaching forward. So, what we're getting at is everything that is in your vibrational reality, which we remind you we are calling present tense, everything that's there did not only get put here since you got here. Let you sit with that for just a minute. In other words, there was intentionality that you held before you even came forth into this body that you are still in the process of catching up with. In other words, from that non-physical perspective, you knew so well your worthiness and your value that it is right there in that vortex of creation. And yet there are a lot of people standing outside the vortex not remembering that, even though it was always true. And so in that karmic sense, we are all in a constant state of becoming. That is true. In your next physical experience, you will be born knowing that which this life caused you to put there. In other words, this expansion is never ending, you see. But there is no downside to it. There is not someone judging. There is not someone evaluating. There is only Source who is benefiting by the becoming that you are carving out, you see. There's not something that is apart from you, standing in judgment of how you are doing. and wishing that you'd done it better and sending you back to repeat the exercise. That's only what out of the vortex humans do. Even Jerry the cat knows better than that, you see. So when you get it that you are good, and he's not Jerry the cat. When you get it that you are source energy and that you are here for the purpose of expanding that, that puts the idea of karma in a whole new place. I was source energy, and from that source energy perspective, I was born into this body for the purpose of, in a detailed way, in a leading edge way, causing expansion of that source that was me before I was me in this physical body. When you get in the vortex and you are feeling for alignment with that broader part of you, you will know the wholeness of that which is you. And when you stand in that place of knowing the wholeness of that which is you, you feel appreciation for every bit of it that was responsible for the becoming of that which is you.
Thank you.
Yes, indeed.
Thank you.